Hello, God bless. This is Daniel Maximoff, and today's vlog is gonna be about yet another Disney live action that's getting backlash for whatever reason it is that I'm about to discuss. And no, it's not The Little Mermaid. I made a video about that already. It's going to be about none other than Mulan. Ancestors give me strength. As you guys are aware, Mulan is the next movie in the renaissance of live action that Disney has been creating recently, mainly for cash grab purposes. Because if you guys have seen any of the Disney live action movies, none compared to the original in the slightest. I guess you can say it has new and unused new little concepts to not make it look like the original, so unique changes, but none are like the original. In fact, they are pale imitations, so bear with me. From the artistic and storyline perspective, and them having a soul and aspiring this generation, it falls flat. So you can imagine my shock when I found out about the backlash that's coming out of Mulan, with China taking over. And I saw the trailer for it, because every single time you go into a YouTube video, there's a commercial that comes out, and obviously Mulan was one of the commercials. I saw it, and it looked like Crushing Tiger, Crushing Tiger, Hidden Dragon, or it looked like a typical Chinese movie, like I've seen dozens of times, with flying daggers, and it didn't look at all like Disney property. It didn't look at all like Mulan. It was so realistically portrayed that I thought it was just a foreign interpretation of Mulan, like Ever After was with Cinderella. And I guess, let me see what else. Oh yeah, and Snow White has an interpretation starting with a chick from Smallville, but it clearly wasn't. It was Disney's attempt to tell the story of Mulan of how it is, with little to no resemblance to the source material that made it famous, which is Disney's interpretation. So I saw that. Oh, and by the way, I'm vlogging from the middle of a forest, so I'm sorry about the noise and the wind and these sirens. I just want to get that out there. I saw it and I was like, we're moving in the direction, in a scary Jim Crowish direction, where people think that since the United States is not like, stick with your own kind, still your own, don't be like what they did with the Lion King that I saw, that if you look at the voice actors, they were white. If you look at, like, with the Little Mermaid, if you look at the source material, she was a ginger red mermaid, that you cannot just get your brain, that you cannot just undo that in your mind. It's what comes to mind when you say Little Mermaid, clearly. So we've been seeing this referendum or shift for all diversities, and which is a pathetic joke, really, because I grew up with diversity. If you didn't grow up with Recess, Teen Titans, X-Men, and what else, the Rugrats, and etc., then you're I don't know what you've been at. I mean, we grew up with diversity we already had, so we don't need that anymore, because that's not the strength of the source material. It's what it has to deliver: bold, like being honest, modesty, poised. Like, what is it that they have to deliver? Oof, the wind is strong. It's pretty much what elevates the material. So Mulan is based on a legend, a Chinese legend, and I'm not that too into the legend. Like, I guess Disney's interpretation of the story has been ingrained in my mind so much that I cannot picture Mulan flying in the wind and just, and doing some Chinese martial arts and I have to picture. I picture Muchu. I have to picture a young chick, a 16-year-old young chick, who who went to war for her father. Not just to prove that she's a woman and whatever, because the feminist narrative, unfortunately, never dies out. She did it for her father, to save her father, who was sick and couldn't go to war, and that's why she posed as a man. And if you look at the Disney movie, it also shows male sacrifice, like how the girls were fighting for Mulan's friends. So it shows male sacrifice. It shows how the love between a daughter and a father, how strong it is. Because truth be told, I think Beauty and the Beast also show that, and The Little Mermaid and Aladdin. So it was the trend of it transcended towards the daughter and father. It's just how women are very, by tradition, even in marriage, they respect their fathers a lot. Some even those are the only guys they respect. So they're paying tribute to that, and it pays tribute how Mulan. If you know Chinese culture, if you guys go and down to the history, women were to be seen and not heard. So that movie pays knowledge and tribute to that. So and it did so in a genuine matter. Put a parentheses, genuine matter. So, and she gained respect. Like the ending showed China bowing down to Mulan, because what she did was a service not just to her family, but to the whole China as a whole. So the Mulan movie was very well received, and it was one of Disney's more successful original movies. And it wasn't pandering to China. It was paying tribute to that legend, and made Mulan very well known. So much that she made it into the Disney Princess franchise without really being a princess. Because truth be told, there's no royalty that goes with her. She was just very well drawn. She had a very iconic story, and she was a heroine. Nothing related to Disney Princess, but they somehow made her alongside Pocahontas and currently Moana, which is, I guess, they did it for diversity purposes, which is pretty pathetic because they didn't really need to. But go figure. And as I stated in the previous Little Mermaid video, if they wanted a genuine black princess, they could have easily done Mufaro's Beautiful Daughters. Although seeing what Disney's doing now, it would have gone into waste, and they would have trashed the story to pander to the PC crowd. So I hope, in truth be told, I wouldn't want them to do it, because they would have messed it up. And that's the only story I genuinely did read and related to a princess that I actually liked. So hopefully Disney will stay out of it, because they trash the things the foundation of their company. They're trashing it little by little. So I guess the biggest backlash that Mulan is getting is it looks nothing like the source material. And now I cannot comprehend the Chinese legend, and that's their own story, and that's their interpretation. Good for them. However, it was Disney that made it famous. It was Disney's Mulan that stands out from the rest. I mean, when you think of Mulan, what's the first thing that comes into my mind? The first thing that comes into my mind is actually, the dragon, Mushu, which actually makes the only character I actually did like from the film, and the only one that actually stands out for me anyways. And it had other, Mulan, and had, sequels to it. That's how well known it was. So I see no. It's a movie that is good on its own. I see no reason to make it a live action because it's just some things you just cannot do live action with. Some things it's just translated well with animation, like And I wish people would respect that. Stop this sick obsession with realism and historic accuracy. It really serves no purpose to put that into fantasy. You know, Mulan had a dragon. Mulan, their ancestor spirits came to life. You know, it it was, I guess you could say, is based on, because it was a legend, but it was technically mythological. So I wouldn't say like it's you shouldn't. And I guess there's some elements of historic accuracy that were incorporated in, but it wasn't the entire ordeal. You know, she went from literally going to war for her father to being a heroine to all of China, and giving you a good glimpse of how the other cultures had it in comparison to this, what we're seeing today. So I really don't appreciate something that had a good story, something that had a good character, something that was generally well done and received, being destroyed and crumbled down, like I've been seeing with the rest of the Disney live action. Like the Disney live actions have absolutely no, like, nothing that I like nothing that I have seen from. They're all just cash grabs, pretty much. Like Disney is like it's heartless now. Like I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I think Kingdom Hearts should change their names to Kingdom Heartless moving forward, because it's all about the money. It's all about the price tag. It's not all. There's nothing genuine from the stories. There's nothing positive or like that makes me want to go back and see this movie coming from like Disney live action. I guess it had at a certain time, but it's completely dissolved. So, and it's just like heartless and with nothing of substance attached. So I really am not into being triggered by race bending or gender bending anymore, maybe because I as a consumer can choose not to watch the movie and just move forward. I mean, I guess the power of, the power that these corporations have is from the consumer. So I guess the consumer just can decide not to watch it. Like I said before, boycotts do nothing. Like, just don't watch it. And I choose not to watch it. I don't choose not to give my money or my time or energy. So I pay tribute to Mulan, the original animated movie, because it was paying tribute. It wasn't pandering. It wasn't trying to be the next best great thing in the world. It was telling a genuine story with music, with likable characters, and with a very good woman lead that actually accomplished something great and actually told the story so well that, she's one of Disney's most iconic characters now. So, and has been going and still is to this very day. The movie still holds up. So I don't see any tangible reason to change all of that and trash what it stood for and I was trying to deliver. Ooh, my hair's messed up. So this is my take on Mulan, and I think I'm getting redundant and making my opinions be heard with this like Disney live action and what Disney's doing with race bending and gender bending and whatever bending, because apparently one cannot expect anything genuine from Disney anymore or original, because apparently they don't have it in them anymore. So why bother calling them out on it anymore if there's just money. They're like the woodpeckers pecking on a tree, expecting the tree to fall, and then gaining having something to gain out of it. That's just how I see them nowadays. Like, I feel very bad for Disney's legacy because, I mean, look at the theme parks. They're not even paying their they're not even paying their employees well. So there's that, and they're using the work that you are working for Disney. The magic of that to get away with it. Because let's be realistic. Working for Disney, that's the best thing that can ever happen to anybody. Even if they're paying you poor, and they're releasing disingenuous, products. So, well, materials, but you get the idea. So, this is my take on Mulan. I don't intend to see it. I really don't have any reason to see it. I guess I'll see it when it comes out in cable, and I see it through Netflix or whatever. But or Blu-ray, whatever. But I don't intend to see it anytime soon. I don't see the hype over it. I understand the backlash about it, but I wouldn't consider it's a backlash that has to consume your entire thought and leave you sleepless at night and trigger you to the point of having a heart attack. So it's not like that. It's not at that particular scale. So the best advice I can give you is not to see it, because you're the consumer. You can decide not to, and have your kids just watch the animated version. And that's pretty much it. God bless, and I'll see you guys very soon.